old chat. You know how it goes. I got to keep an eye on it over here because my selfie thing on my phone causes the phone to overheat and restart. I don't know why. But yeah, very excited to be back here. Welcome once again to Office Hours with G. I'm excited to join you once again. We're going to, of course, be going through a couple more excerpts from my book, 60 plus lessons from the creative journey, a handy guide for the budding entrepreneur. Out now on Amazon, Ingram Spark, and of course, the trunk of my car, if we are lucky enough to cross paths in the physical realm. But yeah, very happy to be here. Before we get to it, I just want to first invite you all, whether virtually from anywhere or in person tomorrow night. We'll be here in Nashville presenting our first Underdogs Across Borders live stream benefit concert. Of course, this is to benefit our Underdogs Across Borders campaign, which is designed to help more of our artists appear in more places in higher profile settings. As you may know, if you've been following, we've had a chance to attend a number of conferences over the past year or so, and all over the world, here in the US as well as up in Canada. We'll be returning up there in August for Gustapalooza, of course, and then had a chance to go across the pond last month to South by Southwest London to check out the scene there and get some ideas for something we might want to do there next year. So plenty developing, and you can be a part of it by tuning in, by donating to Underdogs Across Borders. Tune in tomorrow right here on YouTube, 7 to 9 p.m. Central. And if you're in Nashville, you can come to Helping Our Music Evolve at 615 Main Street, Suite G1, right here in Music City. And then I also want to invite you. One of our underdogs, Brother Dusty, is doing a release show for his new single, Whoa. Oh, there I am talking. Sorry about that. He's doing a release show up at the Underdog venue, the Underdog, for his new single, Whoa. It's also his birthday. So that takes place immediately at the conclusion of Underdogs Across Borders down here in Lower East Nashville. Then you get to go to Upper East Nashville and enjoy that. It's really grainy, the picture over here. So let me just go ahead and see if I can fix that. You know why it is? Because we're not on Wi-Fi. And that anything can happen in live television, right? And this is about as close as it gets to live TV. So let me just make sure. There's my beautiful makeshift mic stand. That's a box for this mic and the microphone. Out of my normal spot today, just because there's an event going on over there in my usual seat. So here I am over across the hallway. And look, my picture is way clearer, and I see many of you have tuned in now, so thank you for being here. So let's not waste any time. Office Hours with G. Today, like I mentioned, we're going to be going back through 60 plus lessons from the creative journey, my new book out now on Amazon and Ingram Spark and in the trunk of my car. You can get a firsthand exclusive, and I'll sign it on the spot for you if we find each other. But I'm going to flip a little further into the book. And last week we covered a couple of the passages on the lessons on interpersonal dynamics, and we're going to keep with that theme here. And I'm going to skip ahead to lessons number 43 and 44. So lesson number 43 is all dealing with the people that you surround yourself with. And it is exactly verbatim. The people you surround yourself with will determine your future. So choose those who are in alignment, of course, with who you are, the values you espouse, and where you want to go. After reading through the past few lessons, which you would have done by now if you had a copy of this, you probably have a good idea of the type of people you'd like to have in your creative sphere. Heart-centered, passionate, accountable individuals who communicate clearly, respectfully, and from a place of their own values. Those with emotional maturity to respond, not react. People who are a good hang and who look out for each other, whether hard at work or off the clock. Professionally, your ideal collaborators are likely moving towards similar goals as you for similar reasons, with skills that nicely complement yours. They're creative just like you, with different perspectives and offerings. When you join forces, you can create a robust, thriving ecosystem where anything is possible. Did somebody come to mind as I was reading that to you? Good. I want you to reach out to them, find some time to catch up, and brainstorm some ways that you can support each other. That's how you build a winning team and create a rising tide that will lift all boats. If somebody doesn't fit the bill, that's fine. Accept your differences, wish them well, and move further into alignment with those who do. Oh, and take the high road. Because frankly, lesson number 44, You shouldn't have time to talk shit. If you're focused on your hustle, putting work in every day to get one step closer to creative pay dirt, that will occupy a big chunk of your time. Outside of that, you may have another job or two to attend to, no shame in it, as well as a personal life, including quality time spent with friends and family. Personally, I also love hanging out with my cat, word to my baby boy Lucky, also known as Lucky Duck. So that's plenty to juggle without drama, negativity, gossip, whether as a listener or an active participant. Anybody who's coming into your life with unsolicited negativity is A, fighting an inner battle that they haven't yet resolved, and B, probably not focused enough on their own goals to make meaningful progress. If you're the person bringing that type of negativity to the party, refer yourself back to points A and B. Not to mention, remember that whole thing a couple lessons ago about your ego being the kiss of death? Again, you'd remember if you had a copy. Talking shit, starting shit, and choosing to live in the shit will always say more about you than it does about the other person. And you'll certainly do a fine job of alienating yourself from new and existing connections in the process. Now, obviously, this does not apply to situations in which you have been clearly wronged on a professional and/or human level. You should always feel comfortable to communicate those instances to people you trust and, in applicable cases, pass information to the proper authorities. But I'm talking more about the everyday occurrences of, people coming in, giving undue criticism, just running you down for no reason. Certainly we never want to be that type of person, right? But also when we encounter those type of people, we have a choice, and it's to respond and not react. It's to choose to take the high road, like we said in lesson number 43. And I think we also need to be very cognizant of the fact that, look, we're all creatives trying to build something from zero, right? That's lesson number 1 in the book we covered a couple weeks ago. And that's hard enough, right? It's hard enough to go forth every day painting on what was at least once a blank canvas and figuring out what colors, what textures, what shapes to add to the canvas, metaphorically speaking, or literally if you're a painter. And that takes up a lot of time and creative bandwidth and mental energy, right? So the last thing we need is negativity. The last thing we need is other people's negativity projected onto us. And the last thing we need to be doing, or have time to do in that case, right, is to project negativity and criticism onto other people. It's the old adage, right? The cliche, which, yeah, it's a cliche, but it's true. You'll never be criticized by somebody doing more than you. And I've found that over the course of my creative journey to absolutely be the case. Hey, on this channel a couple times over the past week, we've gotten a couple of mean comments. Thanks for watching, y'all, by the way, which I always love responding to in a cheeky manner just because it's fun for me. But I notice that those people who leave those comments are always the people with nothing uploaded to their channel, with no profile picture, who often aren't using their real name or the name of a company. They're just sitting there on YouTube, going around hating on other people's stuff. And frankly, this isn't just limited to the digital sphere, the digital ecosystem, right? Because it happens in person. People talk noise behind your back. Sometimes people show up to your events and try to rattle you a little bit. Had that happen a few months ago. And let me tell you something. It is in those moments that we show ourselves how ready we are, right? Are we going to react? Are we going to give in? Are we going to escalate this negativity? Or are we going to rise above it? Are we going to show ourselves what we're made of in a professional and personal sense? And are we going to carry on our mission, which ultimately is more important than any negativity, any gossip, anything that's counterproductive that people want to bring into our spheres? So moral of the story there is, don't be the person bringing that negativity into other people's spheres. And when somebody tries to bring it into yours, come back to center. Realize who you are. Realize what you're here to do. And if what they're saying and doing doesn't resonate with who you are, what you're here to do, and the message that you're delivering to your audience, whether through song, whether through a talk, whether through a book, whether through any other medium, then you don't need to make time for it. It's really that simple. You don't need to make time for anybody's noise, anybody's garbage. A nice question to answer, if in fact you did want to escalate, or to ask rather, if in fact you did want to escalate, would be, okay, show me what you're doing. Show me what you're doing that you can sit here and criticize what I'm doing. And often they wouldn't have an answer, which would only lead to further defensive behavior and possibly attacks. But you don't even need to prove that point because you're on your hustle, you're on your grind, and you're building something great, right? So don't worry about the negativity. And once you're focused on that grind and you're building those relationships and you're building that team around you, that's all you have time for. That's all you have energy for. And you're having such a great time creating and building. And even, in the ebbs and flows of it, you're learning together, you're growing together, and you're aligned and moving forward with like-minded individuals who share a common goal. In our case here at UMC, our common goal is to create a robust ecosystem for the independent artists and the creatives who serve them so we can cut out all the middlemen and gatekeepers, right? So we can build a sustainable music economy and a sustainable music and creative ecosystem. That's a lot of work, and there are multiple pillars to Underground Music Collective that mean that's pretty much, in a professional sense, all I really have time for. Then you get into a personal sense. You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of your needs. If you have people depending on you, animals depending on you, you got to take care of theirs. You got to make sure you sleep. You got to make sure you eat. You got to make sure your mental energy is free and clear enough to focus on the task at hand, to focus on the impact and the legacy that you want to have through what you're building. So what time do you have to entertain the talk, to entertain the gossip, and certainly what time do you have to participate in it yourself? That's what I've got for you today. Thank you, of course, as always, for tuning into Office Hours with G. If you want more lessons, 60 plus lessons from the creative journey is here for you. Of course, you can get it on Amazon and Ingram Spark and in the trunk of my car and at various shows and pop-ups throughout the rest of the year. Stay tuned on some information there. And I want to invite you again. One place you will be able to get it is right here in Nashville tomorrow night at Helping Our Music Evolve when we present Underdogs Across Borders, the concert series volume 1. We've got K-Fox, Virtues, Nicholas Soul, Matt Schmoyer of Powder Valley Band coming all the way from Pennsylvania, by the way. Matt just got here in town. Thanks to Matt for making the trip. And Southside MAB. Really excited to get him on one of our lineups for the first time as well. It's going to be a great, versatile, diverse music lineup. And again, the goal is to raise support, raise awareness, raise funds so we can bring more of our artists to more stages, not just here in the US, but all across the world. I'm going to put that in the description, of course, and you can go to umcworldwide.com. You'll see the sidebar ad right there at the top of the page. If you're on web browser, if you're on your phone, you'll have to scroll a little bit, but you can go right to the GoFundMe and donate there. Or you can go to our link tree on Instagram and you can RSVP and donate via Eventbrite. So thank you so much for being here again. I love doing these lives with you. I got a couple more before I go north for Music Fest up in Bethlehem. Then we're going to take a little 2-week break while I'm working the festival. And then I'll be back at it in August. But we've got next week, we've got the week after that we'll be doing some Office Hours with G. And maybe I'll try to sneak in one more before the festival kicks off. We'll see. But as always, I thank you for joining. Pick up the book. And remember, don't let the haters win. And don't be a hater yourself. And as we say on the Quinn Spin, new episode coming Thursday, grab some muffins on the way out.